Let me also bring in Zhang Biao, Associate Professor at the School of Politics and Public Administration at China University of Political Science and Law. Professor Zhang, welcome to our program today. Now, during the meeting, President Xi once again stressed a mentality that is conducive to the healthy development of relations, saying that China and the EU should not view each other as rivals just because they have different systems, reduce cooperation just because competition exists, or engage in confrontation because there are disagreements. What do you make of these remarks, and how will they guide this important relationship going from here?
Thank you, Zhongshi, for having me. I think President Xi is absolutely right in pointing out that there are different elements and dimensions in China-EU relationship, and they should not let one single element or dimension to dominate the overall relationship. Instead, they should manage and balance each element against the other. And I also think there are two important ways of doing that. One is to keep the existing institutionalized dialogues and the meetings ongoing. That both sides should not really suspend their meetings or dialogue. Instead, they should use these dialogues to achieve cooperation or even manage difference if differences arises from their interaction. The second is to strengthen their high-level coordination. For instance, the top leaders from both sides should have more face-to-face meetings, either directly or at the margins of international conferences. So in that case, that would promote both sides to have a more stable relationship.
I mean, if you look at the meeting this time, a lot of positive signals regarding this relationship. Leaders have agreed on more dialogue, as you mentioned just now. Dialogue will be happening. And President Xi said China and the EU should explore new modes of cooperation and foster new areas of growth. The key word here being new. Can you elaborate, Professor Zhang, on what could these new sectors, new areas be in order to jumpstart or expand the cooperation, the existing cooperation between both sides?
Well, I think there are two important new areas. One is green technology. For instance, China has the demand of reducing its carbon dioxide emission, and the European Union has been very advanced in developing that technology. But another more important and new example is in the telecommunication sector. And so China and the European Union can actually jointly develop different kinds of kits, equipment, and even technologies in the 5G, that means the fifth generation mobile technology. So these are the two new areas.
Professor, something else that's very positive that I picked up on is the consensus not to decouple. We heard it from the Chinese Premier Li Qiang. We heard it from von der Leyen, who said that both sides should simply not decouple. How important is that consensus when it comes to building on this relationship?
I think Premier Li is absolutely right in pointing out that decoupling is very, very dangerous. It's a very dangerous term for both sides. And I think it's dangerous not only because decoupling reduces contact in the economic terrain, but also it has what we normally call a demonstrative negative effect to other fields. For instance, if you have decoupling in the economic area, then that will spill over into other areas. For instance, people-to-people dialogue, cultural exchanges, political dialogues, and even sometimes legal cooperation. So in that case, decoupling is really dangerous, and both sides should really do less decoupling or even de-risking.
Professor Zhang, it's a pleasure to hear your analysis of the meeting. Thank you so much for making time for us today.